Welcome to the Carousel, where we discuss video games, movies, sometimes comic books, and generally well, no, we don't discuss any of that shit today.
No, we're not doing any of that shit.
We're just doing E3. Uh, so welcome to our E3 podcast. I am John, sometimes known as MusiM, and I have Jake with me.
Yo, I am fucking sick of E3, man. Like, I get it now, and I didn't even go. Like, I could not imagine going to this thing. Like, it should be a 3-day thing, and they've stretched it out into, what, 5, 6?
Yeah, I miss when it was just Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but now you got EA with their Saturday shit, and then you got, I don't know. I guess nothing really happens on the latter days other than trying to keep up with the, 30 straight hours of Giant Bomb podcasts combined with, I guess, Waypoint trying to stack onto that with their own 5 or 6 hours that they've done.
Yeah,
I kind
it's
of
rough.
wish, I know they got their own business to sell, but man, I wish they would just hang out with Giant Bomb the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did the one night, but boy, woof.
Yeah.
It's a like I started deleting stuff left and right, and like here we are. We're just contributing to the detritus, but
Yeah, but I mean, theoretically, like, you got to figure. I don't know. I wish we had like a demographic thing on our audience, but I'm betting our entire audience hasn't listened to all the press events and something like that. I'm willing to bet like only people like
I didn't even get through all of them.
I'm going blank on all of them. I think I watched all of them except for EA's. I skipped EA's, but
I saw the highlights, but I didn't actually. The only ones I watched, and this will be my nice little segue. The only ones I watched were EA and Microsoft, and I would like to. I don't think we have anything on EA to actually talk about as far as game releases go. So I just wanted to read. I took some notes as I was watching the stream. They're handwritten, which was probably a mistake. And I just wanted to read off my impressions. See if you can see a theme here. Game changers. Fuck you. Creator Cave. Fuck you. Fuck all these streamers. Okay, that Need for Speed piece looks pretty rad. This Star Wars lady is real mad at all of us. EA Origin is free all week, and I can't see a single reason to download it. Enough with the fucking YouTubers. And then maybe don't show 30 full minutes of Star Wars Battlefront, because you're just reminding everyone how much of a slog those games are. They're pushing esports real hard, and like, no, none of your stuff should be esports.
EA's had real bad conferences the last few years, and since they've now separated themselves from E3 altogether, so they don't have to pay booth fees, I'm just kind of like, I think I'm done watching the EAs. I don't like they don't seem super interested in participating, and are kind of turning like Activision, where they just announce what they're going to announce when they announce it. So,
I mean, really, I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I know we have this discussion every year, but do we really still need E3?
I like some of the hype, and I like the interviews that come out of it. But other than, I mean, no, like it.
Yeah,
I
all these
want
companies.
E3 to exist because I really like at least 75% of the content that Giant Bomb puts out on E3. While inevitably some of their interviews are just complete bullshit, reference the interview they always do with Adam Boyes and John Vignacchi and I forgot the other guy's name.
I don't actually know who either of those guys are.
Adam Boyes used to work for PlayStation. He now works for who makes Neptune's Pride? Who makes Dive Kick?
Oh, okay.
Dave
All
Lang.
right.
So he now works with Dave Lang.
Okay.
And John Vignacchi used to work on at Disney under their video game department when they had it, and he ushered out like Disney Infinity. But like for the last couple of years, they've had those three on, and I think it all stems from it was either first or second year they put all those three on a couch together. When John Vignacchi got drunk and tweeted out Dave Lang's cell phone number.
Oh, yeah.
Which was real funny. Like, it was real funny because you could tell how pissed Dave Lang actually was. But the problem is those three guys aren't really all that funny or relevant. They
Wow.
don't add a lot to the conversation, I think, in terms of wanting to hear about video game development or thoughts on the industry or things like that. So, um, but like I like a lot of that's probably a little bit too harsh. Like they all seem like great guys, but I don't. It's a comedy hour when I'm just looking for information and debate.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I don't know. It's cool to have a gaming holiday. Like, I think it actually at least partially overlapped with Ramadan this year. So like, it's a holy week for those people. It's a holy week for us. It's great. Um,
well, and
I don't know.
it's
Like,
fun when like you have the years where they're like, oh, and we're gonna remake Final Fantasy VII, and here's Shenmue 3. Like we're just pulling the shit out of our ass that we aren't gonna deliver on for years, but enjoy the 15-minute high of this cocaine we just laid out for you.
I guess. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with all of these companies doing like two or three of their own little independent conferences a year. And like, if you just want to, you don't have to rent out a place and get 15,000 people to clap for you. And I don't know, you just do it 2 or 3 times a year if you want to have that own release stuff. But
Well,
whatever.
the counter to this is the Nintendo streams that they do. Like, it's good for the diehard Nintendo fans, but for people like me who generally don't care anything that Nintendo does, like I wasn't. The only reason I watched the Nintendo conference this year was one, I needed something to listen to, and Giant Bomb was talking over, and two, what they revealed at the Ubisoft conference before.
We'll get to that. That was some wacky shit. But did we? Let's.
What's up?
Okay. Didn't know what you were doing.
Oh no, I'm fidgeting with picks, and I dropped one.
Okay. So do you want to talk a little bit about Anthem here, which seems to be kind of the only thing that BioWare intends to do in the future?
Yeah, so they showed a bit about this on EA's conference and in the Xbox conference. Anthem is going to be a 1 to 4 player co-op Destiny style game. And by Destiny style game I mean you can throw Division in that bucket too.
I feel like there's a much easier parallel to make, and it's Warframe in a jungle, is what it looks like to me.
No,
No?
the movement was not. Warframe is 90
yeah.
miles an hour. Like
Right.
that is very. If it looked like BioWare doing Warframe, so I could get Warframe with a really good story, like I would be 1,000% in. But I don't know what this looks like. This is everyone gets their own customizable exoskeleton mech type suit. I don't know how customizable they'll be, and that will be like the big selling point for me. Because like if I can change out like if I can get 2 arms that look different and have different functionality, I'm 1,000% in. But if it's just, oh, you equip something and the arm looks the exact same, then I don't care. But I mean, the other part to it too is because it's going to be this world run around, do public events type game, and they did say they were going to have public. They didn't call them public events, but they called them, I don't know, synonyms of the same words. So
Delicious synonyms.
yeah. But Casey Hudson's working on it. Casey Hudson's was I think the creative lead or the head of the Mass Effect series. But Casey Hudson was also one of the 3 people responsible for the original Mass Effect 3 ending. So, it could go both ways. I didn't even know he was back. I actually thought he was working with Microsoft on VR stuff, but I guess not.
I don't know that anyone is working with Microsoft on VR stuff. Actually, that's a lie. We'll get to that later too.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's one I'm going to keep my eye on, but I've lost a lot of faith in BioWare over the years. So,
I mean, I'm glad they're branching out. If there's really good single player stuff in here, they got one more before I write them off completely. I don't. It looks like they're kind of leaning into the multiplayer stuff, and I don't play multiplayer stuff except for the little bit of Injustice I got on this year, and that's kind of it. So if that's the main driving force behind this game, if they're trying to, because everyone's doing games as service these days, like if that's what they're trying to do, I think I'm gonna pass.
well, and the the other side to this too is, I mean, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure they said they were using the Frostbite engine on it, didn't they? Um,
I don't remember.
I'm
For a lot of these, I did not watch the actual conference. I just watched all the trailers afterwards.
Okay. Well,
Because I was working all week.
yeah. Okay. So they did use Frostbite to do it. So Frostbite is as I can't remember where I read it, but I think it was Kotaku who did the big kind of anonymous BioWare employees talking about the development of Mass Effect Andromeda. And a lot of what that turned out was, guess what? We really just made this game in a year and a half. All those
Oh.
other years were like high concept stages, and we just had to start moving forward, and nothing worked right. And they also built the game in Frostbite, which they hadn't really worked much in. I guess they did Dragon Age Inquisition in it, but evidently Frostbite is not geared to do RPGs. Like, none of those systems are
problem.
yeah, none of those systems are native to that. Like, it is built for fucking Battlefield, you know. So to that degree, like Anthem being this mech suit RPG thing, like there's that big worry in my head too of, wow, look how freaking janky Mass Effect Andromeda is, and how loose all the, like I say loose, floaty all the movement and shooting in Mass Effect Andromeda feels. And then also look at what they did in Dragon Age Inquisition, which was good but was completely automated, right? Like, you just held a button down for your character to do their attack animations however fast they were going to do them. There was no actual action
Game?
so much to it. Oh, shut the hell up. Um, but anyway, so that's like, while it's it's way prettier looking game than Andromeda is, it also makes me wonder how well they will be able to execute on the mechanics. But
Yeah,
time will-
and that was not a super. I mean, that was the very definition of a vertical slice. Like, they could probably put a bunch of time to get 2 minutes of a game polished, but once bitten, twice shy at this point.
Well, and hopefully what they'll do what Bungie has done and what a lot of these other online games have done, where they'll do like a beta that's meant to test their servers, where you can kind of get the game for free and play a couple hours. Because I'm going to have that to sell me on this. Like, because I'm just not a multiplayer fan. I just don't have time to be a multiplayer fan, I think is what it comes down to. And
Well, and God forbid you have to grind for gear like you do in something like Destiny or something, maybe.
oh, you will. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there's going to be gear and grinding, and like, look at how fucking high res those environments they were in. BioWare, like, from their history, only seems to spend 18 months on a game. Like 18 months. And there's no way they're going to build a large enough world not to have repetitive tasks in that world, like Destiny does, you know?
Oh boy.
So, I say that Dragon Age Inquisition was fucking huge. So, but I don't know. I don't know much about the development of Dragon Age Inquisition, so I can't speak to how long they spent on it, or how
The
those
guns look-
systems might differ.
The guns look pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's very pretty explosions. It's very pretty. I don't know what to do with any of that information until I actually play it. So,
Well, and my money is also that it barely has a story in it. I
Uh-huh.
don't know why. I feel like they're going to completely break with the whole story reputation thing.
well, it's because that's how all those games function. Like, Destiny didn't really have too much of a story. I guess unless you went online and read all the anagrams or whatever they were called and did all your own research, like, okay. Warframe, the story's non-existent there. What else?
To be
Destiny,
fair, they
Warframe.
have added little bits of story in Warframe. There's just no, grand cohesion to it. It's all missions that don't do a lot other than create something new for your inventory or environment. Like, there's no, oh, and you defeated this faction forever, none of that. So,
Well, even like The Division, which was ostensibly a story-driven game. The bit that I played it was a free weekend or something. I got like level 12 or something. Like, pretty good chunk of hours into the game. The story was like kind of done in the first hour. So, maybe it doesn't behoove them to make these big grand stories anymore.
I don't know. It won't behoove me to spend $60 on it if that's the case. So we'll find out. And I'm also cool with small grand stories, like reference the movie Logan. But anywho, so Xbox.
We got the elephant in the room.
Yeah. And by elephant, you mean the smallest Xbox I guess they've made, allegedly.
No. You're burying the lead here, dude.
Oh.
What is the name of this goddamn thing?
The Xbox. The Xbox One X.
The Xbox One X. These assholes just can't learn their fucking lesson. It's not hard to name stuff, guys. You already had a good name. Like, even here, Xbox Onyx would have been good. I could have lived with that.
Well, and all the journalists already pointed out they did that so you wouldn't call it the X-Bone. They wanted you to, like, it just abbreviates to nearly X. Like, if you do the X-Bone kind of logic to it, it spells Xbox.
I could call it the Bonix. I'm gonna call it the Bonix. Fuck them.
I was calling it X for a while, or Nine, but there aren't a lot of Dune fans out there, evidently. I think some people might have thought I was being a dick, but I was just calling it the X.
Xbox 110.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't know. Watching the interview with Phil over on Giant Bomb and on, I didn't think his Waypoint interview was as good. We're just gonna bash on Waypoint this whole no.
Yeah, it was a real. And I'm just saying, like, I already heard this. I don't need two interviews of the same guy.
Yeah.
But him talking to Jeff Gerstmann, like, it's kind of a long sit down. I said like 45 minutes. But he really helped me turn around. That interview helped me think of them and sort of the direction that they're trying to point the gaming division in a lot better light. They're being a lot more collaborative and, like, non-competitive, which sounds like a bad thing, but, like, non-antagonistic with the other companies. They're collaborating with VR companies, even Sony, I think. And his thing with the whole Xbox 110 was that, like, look, we know this is not going to be for everybody. We know we're going to sell more S's than X's, which, God, that sentence right there ought to tell you, like, somebody had to say, like, they were in all these meetings where they were talking about S versus X, and it's like, during none of those points did you guys think, like, maybe we're not naming stuff well. I have a real problem with that name. But, his whole thing was, look, we want to get you somewhere. Everybody's got Windows or Microsoft in their life in some capacity, and you now have more options to pick what works for you. Okay, I can live with that. I'm not buying one of these fucking things, but okay.
I really like Phil Spencer. Like, every time he talks, it makes me want to, like, interact with my Xbox stuff more. But, I mean, I don't make enough money to go, like, I'm probably going to get a Switch this year, and that'll probably be my big expenditure. But, like, I don't even have a TV with HDR, let alone 4K. And I am also willing to bet that all those games they showed run perfectly fine on a regular Xbox One.
Right, they're not going to be as pretty, and they've got this list. Polygon had it up. There's a list of games that are going to be, improved for this 4K updates. Gears of War 4, Killer Instinct, Minecraft, Forza Horizon 3, Halo Wars 2, Final Fantasy 15, Resident Evil 7. Like, aside from some of the gimmies here, like maybe Forza and maybe Killer Instinct, is anyone still going back to play this?
If I get a 4K TV and buy an Xbox One X, I would. But, I mean, that would be it. I say that. I will probably play Forza Horizon 3, like, periodically throughout the years. Like, I really like the Forza games. The Forza open world games, but,
I mean, that's what racing games are good for. Like, they don't have a story. They're just there to hop in, hop out periodically. This is a really strong machine, though. It's not going to beat your Titan X's, but they had all the dumbass shirts, about I was there for the most powerful console ever, and, like, yeah, it's a super strong console. It's also $500.
A thought just occurred to me. Like, technically, Like, if you aren't, like, if you're just counting, like, the real big hardware upgrades, this is the fourth Xbox. So next gen, they can say they have Xbox 5 when PS5 comes out.
Okay. I mean, is this really a generation update though?
No, it's not, but why would they, like, I mean, the whole reason they're not doing the numbering thing is to differentiate themselves so they don't look like they're a version behind Sony or something, right?
Maybe. I mean, that still seems like I don't know who they're trying, who they're worried about, who's looking at these numbers and going, oh, well, PlayStation must certainly be further ahead because theirs says 4 and this one says 3. Who's making a decision based on that?
I, I,
Not, I'm,
I don't know.
the,
No one I
the
know.
argument is always, oh, parents buying it for their kids. Parents not going to spend that kind of money without finding out exactly what they're paying for.
That's incorrect. That's absolutely incorrect. I People are dumb and blow like they. I mean, how many people have you known who have not done any research on a car and just bought a car? Like,
None.
really?
I know no people like that. No.
Ah, jeez. Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, granted, like, well, okay, you could throw it in the used market too, where someone just says, "Oh, all I have is a couple grand. Just give me this whatever car. I don't care." And it is what it is. But like, people spend large chunks of money without maybe thinking about some of the ramifications. But I don't know.
I think the numbering thing is, you know what? If it's a dick measuring contest, fine. Do your PS5, Xbox 5. I can live with that. Although they'll probably call it the fucking Xbox V because they just can't help themselves. Um, but this thing is strong enough that it needs and has liquid cooling, which I thought was very cool. It's got the vapor center. But I don't. That's cool. It's neat that they put out a machine that needs liquid cooling, probably because of that form factor. Because yeah, it looks real small.
Yeah,
There's that guy I think he's an independent guy who's like handcrafting or something or putting in an order for the Duke controllers, and like the comparisons I've seen. I would bet that Duke controller is about as big as that box. Like, the box is still going to be bigger, but not by a ton.
Oh yeah, and also we forgot to put on our list, but they announced the Xbox One was going to get backwards compatibility for the original Xbox.
Okay.
I don't. Hey, there are a couple original Xbox games I like Republic Commando, for instance. Although I don't know that will realistically be added in, but we'll see.
I mean,
I do own that on PC as well, so I don't know.
yeah. I mean, anything that you probably still want to play, you can probably get somewhere else. And I'm gonna kind of echo the thing the guy from Sony said. We talked about in an episode or two ago. Like, original Xbox games look like garbage, man. Like, they're real rough.
Not all of us are. Sorry, that my doorbell rang. Lost thought. But oh right, you were telling me how you were a living on fire piece of garbage, Jake, and how you were shallow and don't like old games. So
Not only do they look bad, a lot of them play bad, and it's just that era. It's not. It's kind of that. Sorry, I keep listening to your dog for some reason. I don't know. It's just that era. Like, I can't think of a game that I would want to go back to. They were still figuring a lot of the 3D control stuff for a lot of that generation. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm happy for people. I just can't think of a single game from that generation that I need to replay that I didn't keep the console for.
I got like 10 consoles downstairs. I never owned an original Xbox. And I have I don't know, 5 or 6 Xbox original Xbox games. I really hate the name. Like, the more I'm talking about the past stuff now, the more I hate the names. But like, to me, it would just be nice to have something to occasionally play those on. It's not like I'm gonna go and spend 100 hours in a week on original Xbox games. But you know what? Like, throwing one in for a party, or just, hey, you know what? This sounds like a good evening. Like, that is something I would totally do.
And that's fine. I don't see like the use case for it is just a convenience thing. Like, yeah, and this is kind of the opposite argument that I was making for 360 stuff. But like going back two, three, whatever generations, like the people who are going to use that are probably okay with hooking the old machine back up. And it sounds like I'm mad about this. It's an extra feature. I'm not mad. Wish they had taken that attention and effort and put it into something else that I was going to use more. But it makes it a better box, so I guess I'm happy.
Well, and honestly, I want all these systems to always have backwards compatibility, at least digitally, for everything that they've done. Like, I don't. I want it to operate similar to a PC. I would like everything that you've produced over your lifetime for this system to be playable. I hate that I can't play fucking PS2 games on my PS4. That shouldn't be hard to emulate at this point.
Well, it can't be because you can buy them through their streaming, right?
Yeah. And granted, they just want to sell it to you again, but
Uh-huh.
it's still bullshit, you know? It should
Yep.
be like iOS software on your phone, like iOS 1 shit works on iOS whatever version they're up to now, you know? Like
Uh,
unless the developer stopped updating it, but like
right.
all
The
the apps.
developers all have to. I think they just converted everything to 32 or 64-bit. I think from 32 to 64.
Mhm.
Anyway, um, any developer would have to go back and update their software, or it's just dead and doesn't work anymore.
Oh, I didn't know they did that.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me wonder if Game Dev Story still works. Because I've had that game on my phone for like I think it came out a decade ago at this point. Um,
And
where
then like you go back. There's easier ways to get around it on PC, but like
it
if I bought
fucking works.
excellent. Like if I went out and bought, I think this actually burned me. I bought a copy of The Seventh Guest off of eBay. It was the only thing I've ever bought off of eBay, and the discs just don't, or at least at the time, just did not work. Like you'd have to get something to emulate, Windows 3.1 or whatever those things were running on. So it doesn't always, it's not infinite, but yeah, PC you're gonna have a whole lot more compatibility. And it is nice. Like I can go back and play games that to quote myself, look like garbage.
Yeah. Anyway, that's way more time. So they Microsoft also showed Metro Exodus, the new Metro game. Um,
Do you play
it's
these games?
I played a bit of the first one. I really liked the world and the story crafting and the immersion. I really disliked the gunplay in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I always meant to go back and beat the first one. Like so much so, I bought the Redux versions on the PS4, but I just never really got around to it. But I like the idea of an open world one. I don't know if I like it enough to buy it, but I think if it gets raving reviews, I might.
Isn't
Um,
the whole conceit that nobody can go outside?
yeah, so I don't know what's going on.
I mean, that's one of the things I had trouble with in that game was that everything was so because I only played probably 3 or 4 hours of the first one, and then I gave up. Everything was so confined and dark and just real like brutal. And this kind of looks like it's getting rid of most of those things. So I might be able to jump back on. I'm just interested to see how they get around that conceit.
Well, and like, did they solve anything at the end of the first two games? I don't know.
Well, the whole world. I mean, unless they like radiation scrubbed the Earth, I don't know how they could. But I don't know. Maybe there's magic in that series. I don't
I
know.
I mean, those monsters look like demon thingies, so maybe they just pressed a button and magically got clean air in certain spaces in the world, or maybe it's like an elevation thing. That dude came out on a high elevation, you know, so maybe it's if you're so high, like the radiation is low or something. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a video game. They'll come up with something dumb, and we'll accept it. Like if it's
Right.
presented
That's
well.
that's the piece I want to see how they sort of do the sleight of hand on that. That's kind of the thing I'm looking forward to most on that because the monsters all kind of look the same to me. But it was a good trailer, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
This,
did you
this
add?
next, yes, I added this one,
Okay.
which is insane. because I hate the source material. But goddamn, that Dragon Ball Fighter Z looks awesome. Like, I don't know that I'm gonna buy it, but holy, it's just so like the animation is so good on that, and it was just a really really good trailer. I could see myself red boxing this one, playing it for a night and going, I can't get over all the anime, and then sending it back. But man, that woof, it's notable that I am interested enough in an anime game, a Dragon Ball Z game, to put on my interest list.
The game looks exactly like the cartoon. I don't understand how you could hate one and be excited about the other. But I mean, that company that's making it, Arc System? No, it's not Arc System Works. It's oh well, the Blaze Blue guys. I mean, they're really good at those 2D fighters, 2D anime fighters. So
The animation, see, now my experience with Dragon Ball Z and the show was like, I don't know, back in like '98 or something like that, and the animation was not great. Like it was fine, but it was not nearly as smooth as this is looking. So
yeah,
that's
no, they did
I
a
don't know.
good job of making really shitty animated looking stuff good look good. But yeah, I if I were a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, I'd be excited about it too. Um,
Yeah, it's a 3-on-3 fighting, and I don't know. It'll be interesting.
yeah.
It's a red box pick.
So they also showed a little bit of Crackdown 3, which opened with Terry Crews like getting you fucking hyped for something weird and goofy, and then like I don't know, like there's a huge disparity between like Terry Crews dressed up as an agent from Crackdown and watching the game. Uh,
Yeah, like that art style has aged just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, I think they waited too long on Crackdown because, at least for me, Saints Row kind of ate their lunch.
yeah, I don't. That's a series that they probably should have been bringing out every couple years if they wanted to stay up. But there's been too many. I mean, Saints Row, I think, is a wonderful example. There've just been too many good open world like hijinks games. That I don't. I just have a hard time seeing this game fitting in somewhere. Like, and my memories of Crackdown 1 or like I came to that game way late. Like I played that game okay, I don't know when I played that game. I think I sought it out after listening to TVGP rave about it and Idle Thumbs rave about it too much and played it and at first I'm like, this game's stupid. Why does anyone like this? And then, once you get to jump farther, you like it a little bit better, but
And
I
it was a cool I like they had a lot of kind of first ever ideas in that first game. You know, between the agility orbs and now you're kind of getting more super powered and the idea of I mean I guess Morrowind lets you do this, but the idea that the more you do something the better you get at it, that was kind of novel for the time. And throwing down like 18 crime bosses that you can just go at in whatever order and then, having their sort of department. So you take out this guy who was the wheelman,
yeah.
and all these other related gangs aren't going to have as good of cars. Like all that stuff was really cool for the time, and now it's just been folded into open world games, and it's like I don't see anything special about Crackdown anymore.
Well, I disagree. Okay. If they actually do the like cripple the gang before attacking it and this gang supplies this other gang with stuff thing, and you could do it in any order. Like no other open world game is doing that I can think of. Like, I mean, unless I guess GTA heists, like that was probably like that at its maximum, right? Like,
I want to say Shadow of Mordor probably does that stuff. I
yeah,
don't know that it limits the capacity of other gangs, but even that, I mean, it was a cool idea, but in practice, it really didn't end up doing a ton.
yeah,
Uh,
no, like the original Crackdown didn't do a lot, but it's
Metal Gear Solid 5 has the away missions. You can send your squad to go take out the warehouse that has all the helmets, and then the bad guys in that area won't have helmets anymore, so you can get headshots on them.
yeah, but I don't want to like by away team. You mean you just send your guys to do a mission without you, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so no, I like don't give me direct control over that shit. But if they do that, if they do a lot of really cool open world manipulation like that, then I am in. Like the transforming cars seems kind of neat, but I don't know if I care.
Did you watch the actual gameplay that went up? I think IGN might have had it or Eurogamer.
I don't think I did.
It it doesn't look great.
Hmm.
It looks very generic shootery,
Hmm. That's
but
not.
I don't know.
Okay, well, time will tell. I like superpowered open world games, so we'll see.
Yeah, I want to be wrong on this, just for the record.
So after Microsoft, Bethesda did their conference. It was only like a half hour or something like that, and it came on at like Central Time. It was on at like 11 p.m., so I almost didn't watch it. But they did you? You said you didn't watch any of the conferences. You just did the highlights, except for EA,
I
I guess.
watched I watched EA and Microsoft. I wanted to watch Bethesda, and it was like motherfuckers. It's like 11:15 on a Monday or Sunday, right? Like I gotta work tomorrow, and I
Yeah.
don't know how long this is gonna go. Like fuck it, good night.
So
But
so
they did a real tight presentation.
yeah, I really like Bethesda's. Like they did this weird kind of Bethesda Land cartoon thing to kind of transition between their segments and trailers, and I thought that was a really cool touch. Um, and
It was okay.
they I Bethesda may not have so to speak won any E3s for me, but they like I've enjoyed their presentation every time I've watched it now. So here's
They
to
are
them.
very good at E3ing. Like that is one of their strengths. The whole kids thing at the beginning seemed kind of sappy and like, guys, maybe you're trying a little bit too hard here, but okay.
So that Wolfenstein trailer is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea what that game is promising me, but I think I'm in. I don't know if I'm day one in, but I'm like month one in at this point, I think.
The live action stuff was great. If you haven't watched, anyone out there hasn't watched the trailer for Wolfenstein 2, you are doing yourself a disservice whether you like the game or not, because they did some really cool live action stuff at the beginning. Um, boy, Nazis took over America, and I guess I watched that thing a bunch. I think on the third viewing is when I finally realized that there were Klan members in full robes walking around downtown before they go into that cafe.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Holy shit.
Yeah, like in the last Wolfenstein, they did some edgy shit, like shit that I wouldn't have been brave enough to do if I was a developer. Like they actually have you get captured and go into a concentration camp, and then of course single-handedly blast your way out because you're BJ goddamn Blazkowicz. But so like those tonally, they could have really got that wrong. And I don't know, like that is a ballsy decision to do here. So,
I need to play that other Wolfenstein. I own it on one of these platforms,
oh,
so maybe I'll do that soon.
oh, it's so good, man. Like
I
I'm
need a
going back to it this week.
I need a good action game, and I'm too broke to go out and buy a game right now. So, and I'm getting the end of near. I'm near the end of near,
Hmm.
um, but like I'm kind of losing my steam on it. So I need a non RPG thing. I think just to turn my brain off for a bit. But
It's really good, man. Like presentation is excellent. It looks real nice. The gameplay is fun. It might be a little bit too long. I could probably have used it to be a little tighter, but yeah, that one is woof. Yeah, play that.
okay,
I forget how they ended it. So that's kind of the piece I want to go back and see because he looks real fucked up in this trailer.
how they
I
ended
don't
the
remember
trailer?
in the at
I,
the beginning of the trailer.
oh, okay. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean,
So
they
I
had those
forget how that.
scenes where he's like in a wheelchair, like going through a level and killing people. So that seems like it could be really funny. Um,
Yeah, I don't know how you're in a wheelchair and have a gun in one hand because then you could only go in circles. But whatever. I don't remember how he got so fucked up at the end of the first one, so I want to see it again.
oh, okay. Um, let's see. They also showed a trailer for The Evil Within 2. I never played the first one, but that trailer kind of makes me want to investigate that series. I know the first one wasn't supposed to be like it seemed kind of divisive and like it didn't seem like the people who liked it loved it, but
I
um,
bought it. I bought it on sale for I want to say $20 because I was like survival horror depending. Like if you're talking like Resident Evil 1 to 3 ish levels of survival horror, I can get behind that. So I spent 20 years installing it, and got through the first 5 minutes or whatever. Have not found an enemy yet. First enemy in the game is a one-shot kill. It's a stealth mission. I spent 45 minutes trying to get past this, and it was so frustrating I gave up, which is a bummer because the art style and kind of the sensibilities of this game seem way up my alley. Like, it is gory as hell. There's cool monster design, but it seemed so inaccessible that I couldn't get past it.
Hmm.
So I don't know. The new trailer looks really good, and it's got that cover for what song was that?
Oh, I don't remember.
A
Nope.
beautiful, not beautiful world, beautiful return, something. You'd know it if you heard it, but actually, that's a pretty goddamn good cover. Like, people give shit to companies for putting, oh, we got a sad little girl singing this popular song, or here's a really unique cover of this pop song, and like, yeah, generally they're bad, but this one really got me. It was a good cover.
Hmm.
I don't know
Um,
what the fuck's going on with that game, but I guess I'll try and beat my head against the first one enough to see if I can get through it.
yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about the second one, but it just they didn't show a lot of gameplay. They just showed this weird, milky horror like mindfuck thing that I'm curious about. So we will see. Um, let's see, and they also, I guess, what is you put this down, huh? The Fallout 4 Skyrim Creation Club. I guess I missed whatever this is.
They're doing paid mods again.
Oh, okay.
Um, oh, yikes! Sorry, I was trying to find the name of the song that they covered, and it's just not listed on anything. It's just like, hey, we want you to listen to this. No, I'm not. I don't want to. Um, so the Fallout slash Skyrim Creation Club is basically their new version of paid mods, and the idea behind it this time is that they're all going to be very curated. Like, it almost seems like you'll apply to have your mod in the system, and then they will go through. They're going to hand select mods that they're going to turn on and sell. And I would bet that the modder gets a cut, although who knows how much that's going to be. They will make sure it's compatible. They will make sure it's acceptable, and they will take over the curation, and then they'll put it on the store, which I still don't like, but
That
whatever.
that to me sounds like Bethesda's going to stop making games because they're going to spend all their time on this curation thing. Like that's they better be hiring some whole new people for that because I don't see how else that gets done.
And they're not. That was one of my thoughts too. They're not a big company to begin with.
Yeah,
So the amount of mods that are out there, especially for something like Skyrim,
yeah,
I mean, it's insane.
yeah. I mean,
So,
are
but
they? Hmm.
in the trailer for it though, if you pause it while they're on the screen, like searching around the store, one of the mods is literally called horse armor. So like they're trying to make a joke, but like, guys, you can't laugh at you don't get to poke fun at yourself when you continue to do shit that is not consumer friendly.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't.
between the review policy and their, only letting people review it who are going to be positive ahead of time. Everyone else has got, I want to say a gag order, but that's not the word. What's the word I'm looking for?
NDA.
Yeah. Um, just everything they're doing. I love their products. I hate their policies. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's no way that this doesn't fuck over the consumers in one way or another. And we just haven't seen how it is yet.
Well, and I mean, real. I don't see how they can prevent that. Like that stuff seems like it'd be pirated a lot too. Like I don't see how that wouldn't be.
I
Um,
think I think it's just on consoles.
oh, it probably makes more sense for that marketplace to a degree. And a lot of those modders I think probably deserve some money because some people have done some amazing stuff in those games. But
Yeah,
um,
that's not the piece I'm mad about.
yeah,
Like, and I don't really have a dog in the fight because I don't mod any games ever anyway. So, like, good on them for getting money. I don't know. We'll see how it fucks people over. I'm sure the pricing will be terrible. Maybe.
yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. Time will tell. But it also kind of doesn't matter because you'll still be able to access their normal mod system, I assume. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, like the other part to that. Actually, now that we're talking about this, I wonder if they're also thinking like I wonder if Sony has agreed to let them put additional assets into the games based on this model, so that PS4 players could get like some certain graphical overhauls or entirely new sets of armor or things like that that they might be missing out on now because Sony, really cut them short on what they would allow on the mods for PS4.
I don't remember that piece of the conversation from the first time around.
Basically, Sony allowed mods on the PS4, but they weren't allowed to use assets that were not already in the game.
What was their rationale behind that?
I don't think they made a public statement, but I think it was generally just assumed that Sony was trying to be overly protective of PlayStation and people crashing their game or infecting it or something.
Okay.
And truth be told, like as much as I want console players to get mods, like I'm used to things not working all the time.
Especially in Bethesda games.
Yeah, and but I mean that in terms of I add a mod in and this thing's broken. Do I want to live with it? Yeah, sure. And I don't think consoles are such a closed environment in terms of course correcting and fixing things that I just don't know that it's how plausible a healthy modding community on consoles is. But, I think a lot of people are using the mods on the games right now. I would imagine they are. Because a few of those mods really fix some design errors Bethesda made, so...
When we had they kind of have to do it this way if they're going to keep trying to sell mods. Because you remember the last round when they tried doing this, and people were just straight up stealing mods and uploading them and being like, yeah, I made that, give me money. Like, they can't, you can't let that happen.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Let's see. They also, actually, I think this was announced at Sony, but it might have been at Bethesda. But they announced Skyrim VR, which, sure, I don't know.
I've been playing an ass load of Skyrim lately. It really got its hooks in me again. I was just playing it for something to do one night, and I think I've dropped probably 40 hours into it in the last 2 weeks. I don't know that I need VR in that.
I just want to know how inventory management is in either Skyrim or Fallout with VR, because those games are 40% inventory management.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost want a mod to take out 90% of the combat and 90% of the item collecting if I were going to do VR in one of those games.
Well, they showed Fallout as well. I probably should have put that on the list. Fallout, the inventory management did not look great. What looked really good, this is a great case to make for VR, was the base building stuff.
Yeah, I could see that being fun.
Just because you point at the wall and that's where it goes instead of trying to move over and get into the right position. But
Yeah.
I could see the combat working because everything's guns for the most part. So you're pointing and shooting. In Skyrim, I don't want to be the collision detecting is bad enough in those already. I don't want to be swinging my arms around for 90 hours.
Well, and I don't is it normal for VR to have the invisible hand thing? I don't not that I've done much VR, but I would think I wouldn't want that.
The detached hand sort of thing?
Yeah.
You mean?
Is your avatar in the VR world just invisible? Is that the thing? So if you look down, you don't actually see yourself?
Depends on game to game. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I just thought of something horribly gross and grotesque. So there's a lot of sex mods for Skyrim, right? And one of them just gives every dude a giant fucking boner when they take off their clothes. And all I can think of in VR is just looking down, and that's all there is to your avatar is this huge fucking hard-ass dick. But
just floating around.
Oh, that's the thing of nightmares right there.
Yeah, how many videos are gonna go up or go out on Mixer because Mixer's the cool new thing? How many people are gonna stream out on Mixer between that mod and the VR? Here's me jerking off for 20 minutes in Skyrim.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
the internet is an awful place.
Oh man. So the right, and that VR was coming to PlayStation VR from what I remember. Do we know if it's coming to anything else? I would assume they'd do because they were making Fallout 4 for Oculus Touch. I would assume they'd do that to Skyrim too.
I would think. I'm not going to have any VR headset anytime soon,
Hmm.
so half the time I don't even know which is which. Um, I mean, aside from the PlayStation one, because it's got PlayStation attached to it, I know what console it belongs with. The other ones, I couldn't tell you if there are any exclusives. Generally, who makes them? None of it.
Okay. Okay. No biggie. So.
So that's the end of Bethesda. They do really good E3s. They had some Doom VR stuff that I didn't care about either. They're really going all in on VR to some extent.
Oh yeah, and the Doom stuff was like a rail shooter thing or something, or I don't know. It wasn't like a full move around and teleport punch Doom like we got in the
Uh,
regular game.
how sure are you about that?
As sure as that trailer was, are they doing that? Did they
There
say?
were Yeah, there was teleporting, and there's the movement type where you point at spot in floor and teleport to it.
Hmm.
So I want to say it is. It just looks like a mini episode kind of thing.
Okay. Okay.
Mm. Speaking of blood,
Yeah.
you got me to watch this Devolver Digital
Yeah.
thing, and I saw that thing on Kotaku about it where they're like, "Hey, Devolver Digital did this funny presentation that makes fun of E3," and I was like, "Oh, I'm glad they did that." And then you were like, "No, dude, watch this thing," and I did last night, and I am so glad that you made me do that. I laughed out loud for probably 10 of those 15 minutes.
It's so fucked up.
So why don't you
Like,
describe what they did?
so they do this fake E3 presentation. They aired this right after Bethesda's. It's a 15-minute video. I highly recommend looking it up. But their CEO comes out, and the way they filmed it is they have their actors playing their CEO, and then they use all this stock people clapping footage that they go back and forth through. And they just kind of incessantly mock like gamer culture in a really like kind of a bully way. like, um, I don't know that I want to spoil it like a whole ton though, Jake. Like, is there
Okay.
something specific you want me to tell? Like,
Just
it
the intensity that CEO chick had,
yeah.
and then like the whole throwing money at the screen thing, and it goes wrong, and then just turns into an Adult Swim,
Oh
like too
yeah.
many cooks fucked up type thing.
Yeah,
Like,
this is Too Many Cooks is actually I think a good comparison to this. It is like Too Many Cooks. It's fucked up like Too Many Cooks, but it is not as annoying as Too Many Cooks. Um,
and man, that actress just.
yeah,
I don't know if she is the CEO or she plays the CEO, but she got the intensity right. She got the motions right, and they wrote the script perfect. Like, this is an awesome parody of how these jackasses talk.
yeah, no, and she's it's one of those parodies too where they do the speak, but they do it like in this kind of literal like kind of cruel translation where they're always like, "You're gonna do this so you can give us more money even faster," kind of thing.
Hmm.
But it's a lot of profanity, a lot of blood. So if that's something you're concerned about exposing to other people, then there's your warning. Um, the games they showed during it, really only one of them stood out to me because they all looked kind of like overhead shooter type things. But that Ruiner game looked kind of cool. It looked like it was a twin stick shooter, but it looked like they were doing some cool kind of innovative melee stuff in it that might be fun.
None of that stuff grabbed me. The actual games themselves, like because Ruiner, that was the first one they showed, right?
Yeah,
Because of the whole tone of the rest of the presentation, I couldn't tell if that was a parody too because it was so like outside the way you would expect any of their games to look. So it took me a minute to be like, oh no, these are their real games. This is really a real conference.
I'm pretty sure because they showed that one melee fighting game that they were doing. I don't remember the name of too, didn't they? Um,
I know Serious Sam was in there somewhere.
yeah, that was like the Serious Sam one. I was wondering if it was real because it was like a top-down shooter Serious Sam, which seemed
Yeah,
antithetical to what people like about that game. But
But look at the other stuff they do. You know, Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
Um, I'm drawing a blank now. I think they did this game on my phone called Reigns, which is like a choose your own adventure type thing. Let me look real quick. Yep, that's them. So they've done some cool stuff. They're just, definitely an independent studio.
Yeah. Anyhow.
But yep, check that out.
So, and then Ubisoft happened, and unfortunately, Aisha Tyler wasn't back. Aisha? What's her name?
Aisha.
Okay. But they announced a game that I didn't know I wanted, because I honestly have not given a shit about Mario since Mario 3. I've been polite about it. I don't care about Mario Galaxy. That game has never interested me in the slightest. I did not enjoy my short time with Mario 64 or whatever it was called. Like, I'm still loosely interested in playing Mario Legend of the Seven Stars, but that'll just be a convenience type feature. But this one is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, in which...
it's fucking MCOM.
Yeah. It is a tactical shooter.
It looks so much better than it had any right to be.
It looks so fucking absurd. Like, you have certain Rabbids, like, dressed up as the Mario characters, and they're taking cover, and then, like, Mario will, like, jump from a square to another square that's pretty far, and it looks completely insane. Like, I never thought I would buy another Mario game. I think I'm gonna get this. Like, if I own a Switch when it comes out, I will get it day one.
Yeah, and like everyone else beat us to this, but like they straight up gave him guns. Everyone's got guns. In the trailer, Peach just like straight up cold fucking shoots in the head two of these Rabbid things. Like they're bugging her, and she's like, "Oh no!" And then she's like, "Oh wait, fuck! I got a gun!" Blat blat, and they're just dead. She fucking executes them.
And like, when they announced the game, Shigeru Miyamoto came out on stage and had a fucking arm cannon thing with him too.
Yeah, that was. It's so hard not to like Miyamoto, but like that was clearly just so bloggers would have a screenshot to put, at the head of every article, because that was the one they literally posed for it. They're like, "Look how cute this is gonna be. We brought this guy out." Whatever, it's fine. It looks.
When
It
does
looks
he
real
not
entertaining.
go out on stage with a fucking weapon? I mean, that one year he went out with the fucking Master Sword and shield. I mean,
Yeah, I guess
he seems to
it
like
seemed
his
real.
props.
It seemed real ham-fisted.
But yeah, no, that game I think looks real good. So it is absolutely absurd, and it's weird, like, because they announced that, and then within like 24 hours, like, the talk moved on to a different game. But anyway, so also in the Ubisoft presentation, they showed a trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2. I know this is evidently a game a lot of people are anticipating. This was like an extended CGI trailer with a monkey guy talking to a pig guy. I never played the first one. Did you play it?
Okay, that's why I put this on here, because I was hoping you had. I
No.
don't understand what, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, like, what the fuck's wrong with these people? Like, I am ignorant as to why everyone loves that first game so much. So I was hoping you might know, because I was reading stuff that said, like, yeah, this is a prequel, and I was like, well, how do you know that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a great trailer. I think the monkey swore probably a bit too much, but aside from that, awesome looking trailer.
Yeah, it's some real pretty looking CGI, but I don't even know what type of gameplay Beyond Good and Evil is. Like, my guess is
Yeah.
it's a 3D action platformer, like Tomb Raider or something. But
I think so. I don't know. I'm gonna go watch some footage on it.
well, and like at the same time, I know that the main character's name was Jade, I think, right? So was
That
that
sounds-
like
She was like a reporter or something.
okay,
I want to say.
So this is gonna come off as like, is it the same main character like they showed in this trailer? Like, was that Jade? Like, the previous version of Jade we saw, her head is diamond shaped and vaguely tan with some dark hair, and
Was it dark hair? I thought it was green.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the same character, and I I feel racist for not knowing it's the same character, which
What?
because the new chick's black, and I feel like I should like if Jade was always black, I should have known that, and I don't know that. I don't know it at all, but
I have no idea.
I don't know.
But like, if you go back and look at Beyond Good and Evil, I'm just looking at the screenshots of the cover and stuff, and like, she is sort of looks kind of designed to where like she could be any ethnicity you wanted her to be.
Right.
So I don't think you need to feel racist.
Right. Okay. Well, good. But either way, I'd be curious to know. So someone should save me a Google search and let me know about Beyond Good and Evil, and write us an email at carouselpodcast@gmail.com.
There you go.
So then they also showed another bit for Far Cry 5, which was, a 180 turn in tone from what they previously showed.
Okay, good. Because I had the same opinion. I was like, wow, this could be really cool. And then they showed the gameplay, and I was like, that looks boring.
Yeah, it's just going to be more Far Cry, but I like that I will get a dog in it. So that may sell my ticket. I don't know. I knew that they weren't going to actually go for the story depth that they were preaching initially.
Preaching, I get it.
But, they just evangelized it so much. They really rung those church bells out for it. Okay, I'm done. But I don't know. I don't know that this is a day one or anything unless, like, one of the reviews, like, really proselytizes the story or something in it. But I guess I'm
All
not
right,
done.
stop.
But that was a serious statement, despite the pun. Anyway, I don't know. It looks like a Far Cry game with maybe some side characters that might have more personality than we're used to seeing in our side characters. And oddly enough, like all the other Far Cry games, like were kind of built around the antagonist, even if the antagonist's role was limited. Because what's his name from Far Cry 3? I mean, he was in the game for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, but they were a very memorable 15 minutes.
They were. And then the game continued on after his 15 minutes, too, so...
Yeah, that was unusual.
Yeah.
Man, that was a good game. I gotta go back and play that again.
Yeah, I mean, those games are fun. I like them. So I'm sure this one will be good, too. I think my mistake with Far Cry 4 is I got it for PS4. And, like, it was fun playing with Joey and fucking around online and shooting whatever elephant he was on, which really upset him. But, like... That game looks so much better on PC. I'm not going to make the same mistake again.
I have it on PC, and I played, like... I'm not very far into it just yet, but, like, it's definitely one that is on my radar to get that rainy Sunday. Far Cry 5's or Far Cry 4's in that pile. I've got it. It's installed. It's ready to go. Like, it's in my A list. So
Okay.
I don't know that... I don't know that 5... I don't know if the gameplay looks as fun as 4 did. I don't know. To some extent, that they just keep making the same game, so I guess they're doing that here.
Yeah. I was about to say, I mean, how can it look not as fun when it's the exact same thing? I guess they don't have elephants. That's probably it.
There's almost no elephants right there on the box. The sniper stuff seems weird. Like, I don't use that ever in Metal Gear Solid. But I guess that, a lot of people will. The dog stuff, I don't want to delegate. It's freaking Far Cry. Let me go shoot shit. But
I don't mind delegating. As long as I can have a human companion and the dog companion at the same... Well, no, you don't really do companions much in Far Cry. What am I talking about? Just give me the dog. We'll be cool. So... Anyway.
Did you put this next one on here? Because I don't feel like I really have an understanding of what this game actually is.
Okay. So Transference is a game that during the press conference no one actually realized was a game at first because it just starts out with Elijah Wood talking to you about like VR. But it's some sort of VR horror game. I'm not completely 100% sure what the gameplay is. I've heard kind of negative things about it from the interviews I've listened to from game journalists who played it. But the trailer, I think, is kind of worth seeing just because it seems super weird. It's kind of a VR gone wrong horror story type deal.
Is that the idea? Because I felt like, this is just a hype trailer of us being like, we're really excited about this game we're making. We're making a game. We will tell you about the game at some point. Here's a trailer that doesn't show anything. That was my takeaway.
Oh no, I took it as Elijah Wood as a character. Like at first, I took it as that, but then as it went, like I realized no, Elijah Wood's supposed to be this fictional producer in the game kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You know what? I gotta blow my nose, and there's nothing anywhere near here. Can you give me 2 seconds to get up?
Okay.
I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm sorry. We don't have a ton more to get through, but it was just going to get worse and worse.
No problem. No problem at all. Where are we? Right. Transfers. So then they, just real briefly, they also showed Starlink Battle for Atlas, which is like a space shooter sim, but you buy toys and then attach it to your controller. I don't know. Depending on the modability of these spaceships and the toys, like I may be in for this one. We'll see.
Really?
We'll see. I don't know.
To me, this like we are not the target market for this thing. I don't think.
Probably not. But I'm saying like if I like the attaching your spaceship to the controller sounds annoying, but having a spaceship toy that I could like mod and have those mods kind of change on screen, that could be cool. But I doubt it'll be as deep or interesting as I want it to be. So
I hope they're just super super heavy.
and that's the exact possibility too. Like you'll just have to hold them like directly upright so your hands don't tip over.
Or yeah, hold the controller upright and then just like rest the ship on your shoulder or something maybe.
It's just gonna become like a game of. It'll be like having like a Sega CD with a 32X, except it'll be in your hands and you'll have to balance it right so it doesn't fall apart.
Yeah. Oh, and start taking stuff off and putting stuff on the fly.
That could be an issue, yeah. No, you've said that.
Everything about this seems like a fucking train wreck, and the game doesn't even look good. Like what? You can't have the good without the bad. So you be whiffed on this. All right.
I don't know. We'll find out. They also announced Life is Strange Before the Storm. If the title didn't give away, this is a prequel. You're going to play... Well, it looks like you're going to play Chloe. You might play Rachel. I was confused on that aspect. But I'm 90% sure you're going to play Chloe, and it'll be about her and Rachel's relationship, which if you played the original game, like Rachel's the disappeared girlfriend that Chloe was into, that Chloe and Max are looking for. So hopefully it doesn't ruin the game, but there's some good story potential there, but I don't see how they could possibly add the time travel stuff into it, unless it's just Rachel, deciding she wasn't born or something at some point and strangling herself in the womb, like that one movie.
Butterfly Effect?
Yeah, that's it. That was a real
That's a good movie.
Yeah, that was a cheerful breath of sunshine and an otherwise... No, it wasn't. That was a horribly depressing movie. And that was an alternate ending, I was told, so I didn't even spoil it.
I didn't play this. I didn't play the first one. It's free for PS Plus members this month, so I downloaded it. I have not played it yet, but I trust Don't Nod. Like they've proven to me that they're trustable until they do something wrong.
Really?
So
like what game did they? Because I didn't like. I played that last sci-fi future brawler they did, and I thought it was okay, but I don't know that I loved it. But
Remember Me.
Yeah.
I stylistically, the sound design in that game was incredible.
I agree on that point. Yeah.
That's one of those games where I considered buying the soundtrack.
But it wouldn't. Would it really be the same though? Because like you're saying,
No.
I mean, the song builds as you get the combo.
Yeah. But the brawling was fine. But they build cool worlds. They come up with cool concepts and cool ideas. So I'm willing to trust them until they prove me wrong.
Yeah, and they take chances, too. Which is, this next game they're also doing called Vampire. With a
Do we
Y.
know how that's pronounced? It
No,
could be vampire. It could be vampire.
I will say vampire, but I said vampire just so everyone would immediately picture that Y in there instead of the
Hmm.
IRE. But I'm not super clear on how this game's going to play. Like, I know there's some
Yeah.
brawling in it. I know there's probably some decision making in it, but and I know you're a vampire and you play. I think in the 1920s was the era they were going for. I can't remember.
I want to say 1890s, but it could be anywhere from like the 1880s to 1920s.
Yeah,
It's kind of Victorian England.
but I'm
Sort of.
because I liked, like, to me, Don't Nod is a company that takes chances and they do interesting things with those chances, even if they don't pan out. So for the moment, no game company gets to keep their life pass. But for the moment, they have kind of a life pass with me, where I'm gonna, maybe not on day one, but I'm gonna check out every game they do. And Vampire, it looks a lot higher quality than I was expected. So it kind of makes me wonder if they're gonna use some of the mechanics from Remember Me in it for some of the combat, which could be really cool. I don't know.
I could see that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't really know what the game's going to be, but just some of the talking about it. They're talking about ideas of he can level up. There's a skill tree. There's experience points. So like I'm kind of feeling like it's probably going to be more of a brawler, but I don't know. I haven't really seen any gameplay on it yet. I really like. Whoa, sorry.
I saw a little bit of the combat. Like, he kind of turned to mist and attacked a dude and bit a dude and like it. But it was a really quick cut of the combat. Like, you only got like maybe 10 seconds of it, so I couldn't tell if it was that straight up evolution of the Batman combat that they used in Remember Me, or if it was something different. It was hard to tell.
I could live with that. I'd be fine with that. And it sounds like there's going to be some cool story stuff too, because you were a doctor before you became a vampire.
Yeah.
So like you have to decide who to kill, and if they do it right, and those choices actually become engaging, and have effects on the game, I think that could be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll find
I,
out.
ho- I hope there is little to no stealth.
Oh shit. There's totally gonna be stealth.
Yep, it's a vampire game.
Yep. I always do that bullshit. But what if it's conversational stealth?
Okay, talking to people from the shadows. Do you want to buy a watch?
You just have a mannequin, so you want the mannequin to talk so that, no.
What?
Yep.
I don't even know where this is going.
I don't either. I'm just making shit up. But I like Don't Nod. I think we should pay attention to their games. I think they've proven themselves, so I'm just going to keep repeating what we've been saying. But so the PlayStation conference happened. They kind of just showed a bunch of trailers and left. We aren't really going to talk about much from that because I don't think there was a lot that either of us were super interested in. Like, we were talking before the cast. Like, I'm gonna play the Uncharted, but I usually don't buy those new. And
Shadow of the Colossus is kind of a known quantity.
yeah,
Um,
and neither of us really care about Days Gone. But I'm at least interested in God of War. Like, that's a game I'd like to play. What they showed this time made me less interested than what they showed last time. Because this time it looked too much like old God of War to me, which I don't really want to do again.
yeah, what he said. They didn't, and I hope that I can live with a blend of the two tones between the last trailer and the last year's trailer and this one. Last year it looked like there was exploration, and it looked like you were actually gonna do dad stuff.
Yeah.
And then this year, you're talking to some lady, and she's yelling at you for not doing dad stuff, and then you just grunt at this kid for in between slashing things in half. I don't.
I mean, I know it's like listening to kind of people talking about, like, the interview with the developer. For some reason, none of those were in videos. It was just journalists talking about what they told them. So, like, a lot of what the developer's been preaching is that he recognizes that it has to be, like, way different from old God of War at its core. And evidently the creative lead is like a dad now, and that's really affected him, and so he really wants that to be in the game. Um,
That's good. Those
and
are all good ideas.
and
Roll with those.
I know the kid's supposed to have a button and some sort of RPG aspect to him where he gets better at what he does. But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, all those original games had RPG pieces to them. You know, as far as how you spent your points and stuff like that. Just a point of note: Chris Judge is the new voice of Kratos. Kratos. That's the guy from Stargate 1. Or, I'm sorry, Stargate SG-1.
Okay.
So, he's good. I like him. The voice all seems to be good so far. It's
Yeah.
certainly very pretty.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess we'll have to compare it to the trailer next year when it's still not out.
Didn't they say it was coming out in sometime in 2018?
I think so.
Yeah, I know they were talking about how they were wanting to show stuff that was coming out sooner or something like that, and they were wanting to be ambiguous about their dates. Maybe I'm getting my conferences confused. Oh well. Anyway.
God of War release date.
So the Nintendo
Early 2018. Bethesda is the one who said everything we show tonight is coming out this year.
Oh yeah, okay. So then Nintendo did their live stream that I almost didn't watch, like, because Nintendo notoriously bores the shit out of me. And
Not this year.
yeah, no, this year they just decided to fucking pull out all the stops, which honestly, I'd still fuck them for not having a conference at E3 like everyone else. But at the same time, like they had a lot of cool announcements. So we'll. Looks like we have these in a particular order. So they announced Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And watching that trailer and having not beaten the first Xenoblade Chronicles, I am not 100% sure what planet they're on. If they're still living on the two gods' bodies that they were in the first one. But I'm sure that will be another game using that system that's still pretty good. I like those games. I'm looking forward to playing another one. And then they showed a logo for Metroid Prime 4.
What?
That is all they showed. I heard it.
Okay, it's not quite like the last game we're going to talk about is the one that most feeds into this thought process. But like, I'm not yet ready to buy a Switch. Like, I got to pay for movers at the end of next month, like security deposit, all the crap associated with moving. So like, that's what that money is going towards. But like, I'm a lot closer to being pushed over the edge into spending that ridiculous amount of money on a Switch. Metroid might be one of them. What worries me is I don't want to play any of these games with the fucking Joy-Cons. So like, all these games we're about to talk about, I'm on board with them intellectually. I just don't. I'll have to see how they make the controls.
Okay.
Metroid Prime 4 is one of those.
Well, and I don't even think they have a studio attached to it yet. I think they. Like, I heard an interview with Reggie where he was talking. They may have been one of the official Nintendo ones, I think. But basically, he said that they wanted to make it clear to people that Metroid was an important franchise to them, and that they really wanted to deliver a quality experience out of it, which, completely contradicts them releasing Metroid whatever Hunters.
Other M?
Federation Hunters, like,
oh right,
more so that than Other M. I realize a lot of people don't like. I haven't played it. I keep meaning to, but there's a lot of hyperbole when a game's bad. Like, how bad is it actually? Is it really just kind of okay, and you're making it out to be like the worst thing ever? And that's, I don't know. We'll see. But they're
doubling up.
He left me feeling good about Metroid Prime 4, but it also made me think, like, you guys just decided you wanted to make this game and threw together a logo, didn't you? You didn't actually do any work on it yet, so this is probably like I bet Metroid Prime 4 doesn't come out till like 2019 or something, or 20.
Well, this is going to be my last gasp at Metroid, because I really liked the first Metroid Prime. I played a good chunk of the second Metroid Prime and then fell off and have not liked anything since. And they're showing this next one, the remake of Samus Returns on 3DS, and I'm looking at this thing going like, I have zero love for this universe. Like, I don't I don't know anything about Metroid except that like she was kind of raised by some bird people maybe, and that's the extent of what I know about anything in that world. Any
Um,
of those worlds.
well, the game is all the Metroid games are super sparse on story. You know, like the most they had was that Metroid Prime 3, where they actually had characters you were talking to. Like usually it's just Samus alone in a space station or planet hunting down Metroids and Mother Brain. Like, and they, they'll have like logs and kind of hint towards larger stories and larger universe and stuff. But the game is more about a certain atmosphere and a set of tools and traversal. Um, and man, if they, I don't know who did the soundtrack to Metroid Prime 1 and 2, they need that person back. Um,
Yes.
Because,
And I think that's why I loved them so much is because they got a really good feel, and you felt isolated,
yeah.
like way isolated. But I don't know that I want more of that. I'm ready for it to evolve. This is probably blasphemy to a lot of people who are much bigger fans of the series than I. Um, if I'm going to put up with all the Metroidvania backtracking bullshit, then I need to have something keeping me going, and isolation isn't going to do that for me right now, I don't think.
For me, it just depends. Like, I'm not real big on them throwing a lot of NPCs in Metroid usually. I've heard Metroid Fusion was really good. I always meant to buy it, but now it's like I just don't want to pay the 50 or $60 you have to get your hands on that GBA game. But um, every time they've tried for a big story, well, I say every time, like a lot of people really didn't like Other M, and that my understanding is that game had a lot of story in it. So Metroid Samus Returns for 3DS, I'll be getting. I'm excited about it. They did not show that game on the stream. They showed it after the stream, which was weird. But that game looks pretty cool to me, so I'll be picking it up. I like the Samus character. Um,
What is the Samus character?
a blonde in a badass suit.
Uh-huh. Anything else? Like that's what I'm probably making a lot of people mad right now because what you just said was like anytime they try and do what I'm asking for, they fuck it up. So okay, I'm probably wrong on that. I wish there was a way for them to fill out some of this stuff.
All I need is an interesting environment, an interesting set of tools, and the attention to detail that the first Metroid Prime does. Because if you remember, like, you would go somewhere where cold or something like that, and she'd breathe, and you'd like see a little bit of, or no, it was her cold gun. That was it. You'd equip that, and then you'd like every time she breathed, you'd kind of see her eyes occasionally and the reflection of the visor, kind of thing. And
No,
just
that was you're talking about the frost kind of coming in from the outside a
uh,
little bit on her helmet. When you launched a big weapon like a charged up blast of the regular gun or something blew up, yeah, you'd see the
okay,
reflection
that
on the
was it.
inside. Yeah.
And that was a really cool. Like they have a like that. That's just the easiest one I can pull from my memory in terms of the attention to detail they had on that game. But I want that level of nuance to kind of the immersion in it. Um, and as long as they pull that off and give me some cool mods for the guns, and it's kind of a puzzle solving game to a degree too. Uh, but I'm down with all that. Like if they can do it, so and
And if they can do it without forcing motion controls, because man, watching that trailer for Skyrim, going to be on the Switch, and the guy's like pulling his hand back as he's trying to, keep his other hand forward to shoot this arrow, and it's like motherfucker, that ain't gonna work. Like you're showing this here. Like every third time that you try and shoot an arrow, it's not gonna recognize something. It's gonna because
there's
motion
no
controls
way.
do not work that way.
There's no way they're gonna require you to use motion controls in any of this stuff. Like half the Wii games I have, you can turn the motion controls off. I mean, who gives
I
a
hope so.
yeah? And now you're talking about a game system where half the time you're gonna play it like it's gonna be a handheld. They're not gonna require that. That'd be
Fair enough.
suicide.
Okay.
Um, like I would think anyone who play tested that would fucking nix it. So we'll
Good
see.
point.
They also announced Fire Emblem Warriors, which will be their Dynasty Warriors Fire Emblem game. It looks like it's mainly populated by characters of the Like he doesn't like Marth and Crom, and basically all the Fire Emblems I haven't played. But I don't know. I'm curious about it. I've always meant to pick up Hyrule Warriors, but I just don't want to pay that much for it. So this game may fall in a similar scenario where I want to pay $20 and they just want me to pay 40 or 60 because Nintendo games just don't go down in price.
Correct.
Where are we at? Oh, right.
We got the biggie.
I'll let you do this one because I expect you're probably more excited about it than I am.
This is the game that might get me to buy a Switch. It's Super Mario Odyssey, and I don't. How do I go about this? It looks like a really fucked up mechanic that was very surprising, in that you're basically possessing everything. Like, you can jump into a bullet bill, you can jump into a car, you can jump into a human and then control that person.
Super Mario Head Crab Simulator.
Yeah, it's unethical, I think, to possess people.
That game,
Man,
it's
a real good trailer.
it's not a game I'm probably gonna ever play. But they did a lot of fucking bonkers things because they have him like possessing the bullets with the faces on it to kind of traverse through a level, and then he'll go to a wall and suddenly it's like 2D Mario with like kind of the pixelated graphics, and then he comes out of it and it's all very smooth and stuff. It's I guess you're trying to prevent a wedding. Like I guess Bowser is gonna marry Peach.
Did you see she's in the wedding dress? Did you see the bouquet she has?
No.
It was all piranha plants.
Oh, okay.
It was a really nice touch. I'm not a huge Mario guy. Like, I don't live and die by Mario games. Man, this looks very pretty and very smooth, and it seems like they're making a pretty large departure from how the last ones played. I don't know that I've found any sort of worlds that I like a ton. Then the cityscape seems fine. I don't know.
Really weird to me that they're putting Mario in this realistic-looking city occasionally too. Like,
well, it's going to be one of the worlds, like in Super Mario World, or no, not in 64, where you'd pick, you'd go to the painting. Like, I think that's the idea here, is that you're going to have all these different zones, and that's just one of the zones.
Well,
still weird.
A lot of people are super excited about this game. Like, I thought it looked bonkers, and I've kind of enjoyed everyone's humor around it, because the trailer starts where you see, like, a T-Rex, and the T-Rex turns, and you see he has a Mario hat on his head, and it's because Mario threw his hat on and is possessing it. So that's...
It's a good-looking T-Rex.
Yeah, I don't... it looks good for a Mario game, not my cup of tea, but I will look forward to hearing everyone's stories about it.
Yeah. It's, again, I don't know. It's a $500, game for me because it's $400 plus tax plus the goddamn Cook County 10% tax on everything. So $440 plus a game. It's $500. I don't know. It's a $500 game for me yet, but we're getting to the point where that seems like it's more and more affordable.
They have a lot of stuff on the Switch. I say a lot. They have enough stuff on the Switch that I kind of want to play. Like, I can play Zelda on my Wii U, granted, but you have Zelda, you have Blaster Master, you have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 coming out, Metroid Prime 4 eventually, and I'm going to want to play the Mario XCOM Rabbids game. So, like, I think they're getting the selection. They don't have a ton of games, but
you got Mario Kart, even though it's a re-release. It's new to me.
I'm not a Mario Kart fan, but sure, a lot of people like that game.
There's stuff to get. Like, this was a pretty good... I think this is going to be a pretty good year for people who have a Switch and people who want or are thinking about getting a Switch.
Well, and I think Nintendo was probably the best E3. Like, I think they won E3 for once, which I don't think has ever happened since I've been watching E3 over the last 10 years.
I don't like the winners and losers thing.
Oh.
Yeah, they had a real good show. I think them and Bethesda had my favorite shows.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I really like what Sony is doing year after year, which is they have their cool stage thing. Like, there was what did they have people hanging from the ceiling? What game was that part of? Were they people hanging from the ceiling pretend to be dead bodies that then they started twitching or something?
I heard about that, but I'd assume like Days Gone or something like that.
Okay. I don't remember. But yeah, I love what they do, where they have sort of the two screens, and then they project onto the stage as well, and they have people coming down and, doing whatever, like they had all the burly men, chanting last year in the big symphony. But then they just fuck off. They generally just fuck off and go, here's all the stuff we're trying to do, and here's all our trailers. And then they show up for a couple minutes at the end, and they're done.
Well, them and Microsoft both have gotten a lot better about just showing rather than telling a lot of the time, but I mean, Microsoft was, I think they talked a little bit more just because they had to, pimp out their Scorpio, but I liked Sony's last year presentation a lot better than this year. Like, I didn't really get excited this year about anything Sony showed. I didn't really get excited about anything Microsoft showed either, but,
They didn't put out a ton where I was like, oh shit, son. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta have that. But they had a good show, and overall it was a good presentation. It's just for games that are not for me.
And, in all fairness, like, if you think about it, last year we had the Switch. The year before that, it's like, where are all the good games for these new next-gen consoles? And, like, we've had some pretty exciting few years, so it's probably okay that we had kind of a more average, I say average, more low-hype E3 this year for once.
I don't know, man. We got, what, 25, 28 games that we just ran through?
Well,
And we still got one more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's that, but I'm not like, I don't know. I was more
I mean,
excited in years past.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is, from, like, we started at the top, E3 getting dragged out so far really just kind of wears you out. It's hard to even remember all this stuff. This shit happened a week ago now. And it's been a solid week of, here was all the trailers, then here's everybody actually playing them and telling us that they're nothing like the trailers. But lastly, we got Agents of Mayhem here that's going to be coming out from Deep Silver. Those are the guys who made Saints Row. It kind of looks like more Saints Row. Not as wacky and over the top. I think I'm in on this. I watched the gameplay trailer today.
Well, it's got Pierce in it, right?
Wait, for real? I thought it was a different universe.
It is, but it has Pierce. I don't know. I have no idea. But, yeah. No, Pierce is one of the characters in Agents of Mayhem.
Okay.
I think he might have a different name, too, but it's Pierce. Anyway.
So you pick your squad of 3 people that you can switch between on the fly. And they look like they all have their own abilities and, like, tech trees and all that stuff and upgrades. You can switch them out on the fly. I really like the tone because it's that same sensibility as you have in Saints Row without the wacky over-the-top stuff that I'm kind of getting tired of. But, like, still, these guys know how to write funny dialogue. And it seems like there's a good chunk of that in here.
Okay, it looks like Pierce is going by the name of Kingpin in the game.
Okay. Do we know when that's coming out? I missed that piece.
I know it comes out in 2017, but I don't know the date.
Okay.
Here, I'll look it up real quick. May as well. August 15th, allegedly.
Oh, geez. That's real soon.
Well, yeah, 3 months.
3?
2 months, whatever. I can't tell time. I don't know when it is. I've been doing 50-hour weeks for like 3 weeks in a row.
That's 60 days away, man. That's like 3 casts. That's coming up.
Okay, yeah. We'll
So
see.
that was E3. We skipped a bunch of stuff because there's not necessarily because there was anything wrong with it, just because it wasn't up our alley or we didn't know enough to intelligently talk about it or for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
if we didn't bring up your favorite trailer or whatever, please don't get mad because that's not a personal attack on you.
But really, yeah, we're really just picking up stuff we're interested in. I mean, if we just went through everything, we would shit on a lot of things and probably piss you off more. So, just because we aren't interested in it, and then we'd be talking for 5 hours, and no one fucking wants that. So,
Yeah. So that's it. That's going to wrap us up.
yep. Okay.
It was E3.
Thank you for joining us for our E3 podcast. Check out the website at thecarouselpodcast.com. Rate and review us on iTunes. We are on other podcasting services I can't think of at the moment. Buy my music at MusiM.bandcamp.com. And Jake,
For those in the chat, this is not our usual time. We're usually every other Thursday. So this coming Thursday we will be back on, but it's Thursday nights at 7. No, I'm sorry, 8.
yeah, every other Thursday. So, and we will see you guys here on Thursday then, I guess. So,
Okay. Bye, guys.
bye. Oh yeah, I guess I can just stop the live stream, huh?